Hi, everyone. John with PT and this Dan fella. How are you, Dan?
This Dan fella. I was doing great before this
Ooh.
call, so there you go.
Well, we get a little punchy after a while with these things. So
I hear you.
is
I
what
hear
it
you.
is. So, do you know where the phrase "hold a candle to" comes from?
No.
Okay, so it comes from the good old days pre-electricity, where you had somebody who was an expert and they had an apprentice. It could be a blacksmith, it could be anything along those lines, and they would literally hold a candle to provide light for somebody doing a particular task, and they were there to learn from the master and grow and one day assume a role, those kinds of things. And I think there's an element of this relative to sales when it comes to self-awareness and understanding where you are on the curve, when you really should own things and do them yourself, when you need to incorporate help or aid, and when you get to that master or expert level, how you then coach and train the next generation, if you will. So, can you talk a little bit about that self awareness side and that sales curve of a lifetime and how it impacts us?
It's funny, John. Some of my best clients are veteran salespeople that
Yeah,
are already successful. And yet, when people think of people that need sales training, they always think of the amateur or the person
yeah,
who's not doing well. It's not. In fact, I would say that a lot of times the people that are amateur salespeople or younger salespeople, they don't think they need sales training. And part of
yes,
that is because they haven't been around long enough to make the mistakes, or they think
fair.
they know it all.
Yeah,
That's not
yeah,
always
yeah.
the case for everybody, but it does come a long way. So John, why do you think people are so hesitant to try to improve their knowledge base, their skill set when it comes to sales, but we do it for everything else within a business?
Yeah, I think especially for somebody who we would think of as more of a veteran in sales, the idea of somebody now coaching them on improving in sales, being more current in sales, it makes them very uncomfortable.
Hmm.
It just does. It takes them back to when they started in sales and they started doing things that really were against the grain of their nature.
Hmm.
And I think it comes flowing back and they lean on, look, I've done this for years. I've built this. I'm okay. I'll be fine, rather than saying, hey, anything else I can do to get better, to improve, all those kinds of things, because they don't want to be uncomfortable.
Yeah, I like that. The other thing that I see is older people trying to teach the younger generation how to sell. Well, guess what? The buyers today are different than they were 10,
Yes.
15, 30, 40 years ago.
Yep.
And so what worked in 1990 or 2000 are not
Yeah.
working today. And sometimes people don't really know how to make that transition. But look, if you're a veteran salesperson and you may be in a management position or you have an opportunity to mentor a young gun, so to speak, it's not all about the technique. What they really need help with is how in the world do I overcome rejection?
Yes.
How do I fight procrastination? How do I overcome worry and fear and doubt? Because our jobs are they're just fret full of it all, you know?
Yeah. Well, I don't even know if somebody newer to sales, I didn't know those questions to ask when I was new to sales, because some of that stuff I didn't even see and I didn't even understand how it was impacting me. The other really interesting one I'm seeing too is younger salespeople who I like to be around a lot. They bring a lot of energy, they bring a lot of new ideas. Oftentimes we discount them and we shouldn't,
Mm.
but they're now trying to sell to 60, 70, 80-year olds. And
Hmm.
there's an interesting dynamic happening out there where sometimes somebody who's older really embraces that because they think of that person as being around for the rest of their lives and they can develop a relationship. Other times it grinds against each other. So
Yeah, because you're thinking they're young. What can
what
they
do
do
they
to
know? What
help?
can they teach me? And a lot is the answer.
I always look at it like real quick here. If you were to get into an accident on the highway, right, and you're laying on the interstate, you can't move, and an ambulance pulls up, and this young doctor comes out with a stethoscope, wrapped around his neck. Are you saying to him, "Hey, wait, I really want something a little more veteran"? Or are you saying, "Save my life, please"? Right?
I'll wait for the next ambulance.
So I think it does. It comes into how we present ourselves, the questions we ask,
Yes.
all that kind of stuff. And maybe age plays into it at the beginning, but shortly thereafter, it doesn't.
There we go. All right, everybody. See you again tomorrow.
Have fun.